Hey people, welcome to the Sit and Run podcast with Michael Caceres. How's it going? On the show, we got Mr. Dave Miranda. This is actually part 2 of the interview. If you were interested in the first part, welcome back. Welcome back. Happy to be here. The interview gets better as we go on. And honestly, guys, I got like 2 hours of just free education from Mr. Dave Miranda. So enjoy the second part of this interview. If you want to hear the first part is right there on my channel, Michael Caceres, Sit and Run podcast with Dave Miranda, part 1. Go and check out the first episode. It's awesome, man. I love it. Welcome back, everybody. This is part 2 with me and Dave Miranda. Here we go.
No, see, nobody remembers that.
Yeah.
You know, I actually.
You filled it out.
Yeah.
You felt, you kind of, all right, went with it a
like
little bit.
if that had happened, I would have signed it, you know, knowing it was bullshit. But I said, well, maybe if I sign it, they'll be happy. Mm-hmm. I found that they're like sharks. Once they smell blood, they want more. That's never enough. And what I figured out is the more competent you are, and this is true for any job, but I think it magnifies in police work. Because life and death and incarceration are involved. The stakes are very, very high.
Definitely.
Yeah, but I know that I'm quite confident that what I experienced is the same thing a lot of people experience in all kinds of jobs. It's just bigger because of the stakes.
Yeah.
Is all. But yeah, the first 5 or more years. I played the game. I was nice. I'm sorry, like this, and I believed all the lies. I gave people the benefit of the doubt, only to find that they would lie to me again. I gave them that benefit of the doubt, and finally realized that you ever hear of? They still use the phrase "carrot and stick." You know about carrot and stick?
No.
Okay, it's a really old phrase.
What's it called? Carrot and stick.
Carrot and stick. Okay.
Let's hear it.
The idea being is that you get you get your mule. Or your horse to go because you tie a carrot on a stick in front of it and it'll keep walking towards it, even though it's never really reaches it. But at some point in time, you have to stop and let the horse eat the carrot so it gets a reward.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't do it, you hit it with the stick. You know, carrot and stick. So
Yeah.
the carrot and stick approach is you hold a promise out, you hold a benefit, a reward out, and you let the employee have it. And when the employee doesn't do the job, you hit them with the stick. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's they still do it. They just don't call it a carrot and stick. I have no idea what they call it now, but it has to be called the carrot and stick approach. Yeah. She helped me see that what I really had was a stick that was disguised as a carrot. I had 2 sticks. I never got a carrot. There were so many people made so many promises. Oh, if you do this, I'll do that for you. Oh, no, I don't remember that. If you do this, I'll do that. Well, I'm not able to do that now. Basically people just used me.
Yeah.
And I finally figured out, and my situation didn't change. I had no opportunity for advancement because there was no career ladder. So I realized, what is my incentive for letting myself get used?
Yeah.
I didn't have one. So then I became what I often like to call, and I'm not the most dangerous person in the world is the person with nothing left to lose. And once you realize you've got nothing left to lose, I didn't get certain people. I was never going to get their respect simply because they didn't want to give it. And the other thing I figured out is that the more competent you are, you find out who is incompetent and has a very weak ego structure. And those people will never acknowledge you positively. But they're the ones that will lie to you the most. They're also often the ones that have the most political power in an organization. But I figured out, as long as I just do my job, I can avoid all the other. And so I completely disregarded all carrots and all sticks.
Yeah.
And they lost their power.
Yeah.
So really I'd say from year 10, I had really...
I had learned everything. You were just doing Dave Miranda. Oh, man.
Everybody always thought that I fought every battle, because guys used to tell me, you got to pick your battles. They never realized that I did. I only picked a conflict if I felt that there was a moral or ethic involved, and those I never lost.
Yeah.
If it was something that was what I would call procedural, for example, let's say that here's a nice simple example. From my house here, we're going to go to Citrus College.
Okay.
Now, there's two ways to go. We can go that way to Miranda, or we could go this way to Citrus because they bracket Citrus College. But what if you have authority and you tell me, no, I want you to go to Azusa Avenue, go up Azusa, and then get there by Foothill? Is that wrong? Is that morally wrong?
Well, no.
No. Is it stupid?
Sure, but there's a lot of stupid things. But
it's not morally wrong. That's what I call procedural or administrative.
Yeah.
Those I always give in on.
Yeah.
Because there's no way to win that.
No, you can't.
That's you being an ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I waste a lot of time with that. So I used to tell some sergeants, "Sir, my time is yours to waste. Spend."
To waste.
I'd always get this double take.
Oh man, let's say it one more
time. Get out of here, Miranda. Sir, yes, sir. I'm on my way.
I'm going home. Oh man, that's awesome.
I was always hoping that one of them would just say "go to hell," but because I had a great comeback, but I never had a chance to use it. Yeah, I got it from a movie actually.
What movie?
It was an old western, The Professionals.
The Professionals?
Yeah, some girl tells Burt Lancaster to go to hell. He goes, "Yes, ma'am. I'm on my way."
I gotta watch that movie. Oh man! So then
I never got to use that one. So they just say, "Get out of here." I'm out.
You gotta write that down. That one's going in the second episode.
So if it was procedural or administrative, where it's just, I just think that's a dumb idea.
Yeah,
I did it.
Yeah,
because there was.
You had to. It's your job.
It's my job.
That's where you're getting paid for.
I can disagree, but there's no moral wrong to it. But if I could phrase it, if I realize, no, I can phrase this and see this in moral, ethical terms, those are the ones I dug my heels in.
Yeah.
And those tended to be big and become well known in the department, and I think that's the reason I had this reputation.
Yeah.
Of fighting every battle.
Yeah, which is not a bad reputation to have.
I didn't think so.
No.
There used to be this officer, and if I ever get this in a series, somebody like him would be featured.
Really?
Because he's a very good man.
Yeah.
And every rookie comes in thinking we're gonna save the world. We're gonna change everything, and then reality sets in, and they go through this interesting transition.
When these young people come in and they have the mind that they want to change the world, do they also come in with as they like a chief where they don't want to buy into anything? Like for example, going back, would a youngster take Barranca to Citrus when he was supposed to take Azusa?
Oh, actually, they're still in the yes sir mode. And if you tell them, no, you need to go south all the way down and around the North Pole and come to Citrus that way. Sorry, yes sir, I'll be there in a couple of days.
Okay, good.
Because they will assume that you had a good reason for saying that.
Okay, good. So
they haven't learned yet how stupid. Some orders can be.
Yeah, so good. So in the beginning, they already got this mindset that they need to buy into the system.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And there's some necessity for that.
Yeah.
And I can see that. But also they believe that we're going to save everybody, we're going to catch every criminal, and we're going to do things right and never do anything wrong. And never cut any corners. And then they get dealing with, and then two things happen. They deal with other veterans who kind of help show them the ropes. Most of the time, that's good, and the vast majority of the time, that's good.
Yeah,
usually good experience. Here, kid, let me show you a legitimate shortcut. And then other times, it's not so good, and then the frustration sets in. And I even faced it in forensics, where I get a print off of something and I identify it, and more than once I was like, "Oh, I identified this guy 2 years ago. He must be out of prison by now." And so there is this recycling of criminals.
Yeah.
And most people, they get upset with that. They get, no, our job is to find ways to keep them off the street forever.
Yeah.
No, our job is to find them for this crime. And that's where things go wrong. I think officers wind up doing the wrong thing for the right reason, and then they start doing the wrong thing for the wrong reason. That's kind of getting ahead of myself. But this guy,
it's one of those things where like the obvious is wrong sometimes.
Yeah. But this guy, I saw after about his 5th year, he'd swear he just got out of the academy. He just couldn't wait to come to work. He couldn't wait to do good.
Yeah.
And he would take the shittiest call, the call with the most paperwork or the most annoying people.
Cool.
And he was like, "No, let's go help this person."
Nice. Youngster.
He was 30 years old by now. I mean, here was 5th year, 10th year, and you'd swear he just got out of the academy. So I started to call him Galahad. Do you know your Arthurian legend? Most people don't.
No, I
Okay,
don't.
most people know about King Arthur and the Round Table, and of course things.
What'd you call him?
Galahad.
Okay. Let's hear this.
And after things went to mush in Camelot,
yeah.
Arthur sends 3 knights to go look for the Holy Grail.
Okay.
Do you know what the Holy Grail was? Most people don't.
No.
The Holy Grail was the cup that Christ used at the Last Supper.
The Holy Grail.
Now, this actually becomes a major plot point in Indiana Jones and the Last Kingdom or something like that. But anyway, that's what the concept was. And Arthur believed that if they found the Holy Grail, that they could bring it back and would help restore Camelot.
Okay.
So you find this holy relic.
The Holy Grail. Okay.
And I forget who the other 2 knights were, but they failed in their task. Only Galahad, the fates only allowed Galahad to complete the task, find the Grail, and touch the Grail. Because Galahad, of all the knights of the Round Table, I mean, even Arthur lost faith, Lancelot, I mean, he went humpa with Guinevere, for heaven's sakes. Everybody turned bad or turned into unbelievers of the Knights of the Round Table, except Galahad. You all right, hon? Okay. Except Galahad. Galahad never lost faith, ever. That's the reason he was allowed to touch the Grail.
That's a great name to have.
And when I looked at this guy, Robert was his name, I decided he was Galahad. So I started calling him Galahad for about 3-4 years. Hey, Galahad.
Yeah.
And he would answer. And then one day we had this big case, and it was at night, and we realized that nobody had searched this 100-yard stretch of dark road, unlit road, for shell casings and other evidence. And I was I was called in from home with the case already 4 hours underway.
Okay.
I was like, no, none of you guys. And I looked at the forensic guy that was in charge. You didn't detail anybody. What? Why am I talking to you? And he's laughing, and he goes, "I want to give you something to do." "Oh, thanks." I said, "How about I forgot?" "Never mind." He did. He forgot. He forgot. So they said, "Dave, you want to go search? I'll take care of it. You need somebody?" Yeah, it's kind of dark. Yeah. He says, "Pick somebody." I look around. Galahad.
Galahad.
He goes, "Sir, come with me. We're going to take a walk." I said, "We're going to take a long, dark walk in the evening."
Oh my goodness.
He says, "Whatever you say, sir."
And he was
he,
in.
he wasn't terribly humorous.
But he was in.
But he was in.
But he was in.
So we're walking along. And he says, "Can I ask you something, sir?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Why do you call me Galahad?"
And it had been
And I said,
3-4 years.
I said, "All these years, I've been calling you this for 3 or 4 years, and only now you ask?" And he says, "I was waiting for the opportunity." I said, "You're a very patient man. I respect that in a guy."
Wow. That's a great story.
So I told him everything that I just told you.
Yeah.
And I said, "And I think it applies to you." And he thinks for a moment. He goes, "Yeah, I'll take that."
Yeah.
"Yeah, thanks, I'll take that." And he says, "What does that make you?" And I said,
Oh gosh.
"Merlin." And he goes, "Oh yeah."
What's Merlin?
Merlin is the magician
Uh-huh.
that kind of oversaw all the events.
Uh-huh.
He got Arthur to get the sword and the stone.
Yeah.
And powered Excalibur and talked to the Lady of the Lake. Yeah, Merlin was the great magician of Camelot, the wizard of Camelot.
I'm upset that I don't know any of this.
Also kind of
man.
a kingmaker, wheeler dealer.
Yeah.
The guy that kind of seems to know what everybody's doing, sometimes before they do it.
Yeah.
Nobody ever asked me that before, and I just thought for a second, I go, "Merlin." He goes,
Yeah.
yeah, that works for you.
Oversees everything. Walks around.
We became pretty good buddies after that.
Yeah, heck
Even
yeah.
more than before.
Heck yeah, man.
And
What's that guy up to now?
He's still an officer.
He's still in?
He's leading, and he is. I understand it that he is still himself.
Galahad, man.
Doesn't have a lot of friends in the department.
For
but
sure.
I don't think he needs any.
No.
I know he married. I met her, fine young lady, and I remember telling all this story to his future mother-in-law because he was taking them on a tour of the department.
Yeah.
And we stumbled across each other. I said, Galahad. And I was like, oh, Robert, how you doing, man? Why do you call him Galahad? Funny thing you asked.
Funny you asked.
And he just
told them the whole
he
story.
just told them the whole story, just like I told you. And
man.
when I told him that one of the things I always knew was that this is a man that would never cut corners. I said, I think he'd rather die than even leave something out of an arrest report.
Man.
His mother-in-law was just so pleased that she grabs his arm and plants a big kiss on his face. His bride-to-be, she's all happy.
Yeah.
So I just thought, well, that's pretty cool. That I didn't expect that result, but that kind of made me happy that do that.
Yeah.
And I said, well, my work here is done. And he looks at me, Merlin.
That's great.
And they're like, what? I said, private joke. Don't worry about it.
How old is that guy now?
Oh, I don't know anymore. He's definitely in his 30s.
Yeah.
I don't know anymore.
Man.
I know he's got to be approaching 40.
Yeah.
I've lost track of all these people.
Yeah.
But I just remember him.
And then you're out of there. 2010.
Yeah.
You're out of there.
Yeah.
And
there's two people I still keep in contact with that are friends, and we talk at least monthly. And have a meal. So.
Heck yeah. And then after that, did you hang out for a couple years, and just what happened after that? In 2010, what happened?
In 2010, I resigned effective December 17th. I believe that's what the day was. It was be a Friday.
Yeah.
And then the following Monday, I reported for duty in Virginia. To the company called BAE Systems, and began what was a 2-year journey in which I deployed as an expeditionary forensic mission, which basically meant I was a CSI, and they sent me to bases in Afghanistan to do what I used to do.
We didn't
at
even
the
get to
department.
Afghanistan.
Oh,
Oh my God. Dave, man. The life you had. Okay. What are you doing in Afghanistan?
In my view, I'm doing 3 things.
Okay.
One is I am doing what I expect God expects me to do. I believe in my own belief system that God expects me. I don't want to say us. He might expect that of all people, but
Sure.
I can only expect it for myself.
Yeah.
That He expects me to do whatever job forces me to use everything, all the resources and gifts that He has seen fit to give me.
Yeah.
And it was really tempting to, if I never went to Afghanistan, I'd actually still be working for the department and thinking about retiring either this year or next year.
Oh, really?
But I was very good. I was the best in my unit. And I got to the point where I could almost do the job in my sleep.
Oh.
Now, that doesn't mean I was bored. A lot of people think I went to Afghanistan because I was bored. It was that I wasn't challenged as much simply because I knew the job so well.
Yeah.
And again, I wasn't bored, but I was worried that perhaps I was cheating God, and was looking for opportunities to do more. The second thing was I fell in love with a hero of Afghanistan who's now dead, named Ahmad Shah Massoud.
Okay.
And he was one of the best friends the United States ever had. I first started reading about Afghanistan in 1985. Because for a lot of different reasons. Well, actually, I could show you right here. Don't go with.
Yeah, let's do it.
I bought these figures a long time ago, and a friend of mine painted them. Take a look at that.
Yeah.
You want some light here? I can give us some light over
Yeah,
here.
let's do it. This is this is a figure.
That's a Mujahideen.
How do you say it?
Mujahideen. Holy warrior.
A warrior.
Yeah.
In Afghanistan.
In Afghanistan. And he was wondering how to paint him, So said he went to the library and he picked up a bunch of books, and he found this one book. And it turned out to be about Afghanistan. I never even knew much about Afghanistan.
Yeah.
I knew it existed. But he said, let me show you something. And he flips the pages, and there's this game. Pictures of this game they play called Buzkashi. You've never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
Anybody's ever heard of it. That's because Afghanistan is the only place in the world where it is played. You have guys on horseback, 2 teams, and you have this big field which in the outlying areas can vary in size from that hill there and that hill there.
Yeah.
And they put a stake or a tree or whatever.
But these are people?
Yeah, these are. So these guys ride these horses.
Yeah.
And in the center of the playing field is this circle that they make, usually out of white chalk, and they put a dead goat or a dead calf.
Okay.
All
right.
And they cut the head off and cut the limbs off, drain it, take all the entrails out. I learned that they soak it in water for 2 or 3 days, toughens the hide, because that's the ball.
These are sociopaths. These are psychopaths.
These are people the Soviets couldn't beat.
Oh my gosh, man.
Anyway, the object of the game was they all attack to the center circle.
Okay.
And first one that grabs the goat or the calf and grabs the beast and puts it up over their saddle.
These horses are running around the circle?
No, while they're like, think of it as like rugby and soccer.
Okay.
Horses.
Okay.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
The horses are special trained. When the rider falls off, the horse will stand by, wait for the rider to come get it. And they don't mind banging into each other.
But this is a thing in Afghanistan?
It is their football, baseball, and basketball all rolled into one. I did not even know this until I started looking this up, and I found it absolutely fascinating. So they grab the goat, and then whoever grabs it is supposed to ride their horse to the farthest end, or circle the tree or the stake or whatever. Come back in, throw it in the center circle, point for your team. Now, they say in the city, the games, are timed, they have referees. I've read before that in outlying areas, games can last for days.
Of course they can.
You could find games on YouTube. It's hilarious.
What's the game called?
Buzkashi. Buzkashi. Now, for your teammate, you're allowed to do virtually anything.
Yeah.
You can use your horse to block other horses. I saw one video where he grabbed the reins of the guy that had the goat, get the horse to run faster. When you're the opposing team, you can do anything. Get your horse to bite or kick. I've seen interviews with Buzkashi players that laugh and brag about, oh yeah, I broke my leg, horse kicked me. And they're just laughing. These are tough men. These are tough people.
Yeah.
And I started to read more and more, and especially after the Soviet invasion, I read that the person that the Soviets hated the most was Ahmad Shah Massoud. The Panjshir Valley was right in the middle of Afghanistan, above Kabul, the capital, and it was the one area they never could conquer. After the Soviets left, but the Taliban took over, he was one of the warlords that opposed the Taliban. But they had all the power, so he retreated, and I'll bet you've heard of the Northern Alliance. Most people have. You ever heard of something called the Northern Alliance?
I have, actually, yeah.
Yeah. He's the reason that we had that. What happened was that after the Taliban took over, he retreated with other like-minded warlords. They all left the country except him, and they gave him control over their forces. So he basically created a state within a state. Because he believed the future of Afghanistan was in democracy. This is a Muslim man. This is important. He was a devout Muslim, but he believed the future of Afghanistan lay in democracy, education, and women's rights.
When?
What?
When?
In the 80s and 90s.
No, but I mean like
as soon as possible. So when he set up basically a government with help from others in the Northern Alliance, and that's why it was called the Northern Alliance of these other warlords, troops and forces, so that they had elections. Women, he set up schools for women. to learn, be educated in
Afghanistan?
In Afghanistan.
I had no idea. Really?
And he loved America. He believed that America was the great hope of the world. I fell in love with this man.
Yeah.
I totally said, I find myself getting emotional every time I talk about him.
Yeah.
And he warned us about 9/11.
Really?
Yes. His agents couldn't get a pinpoint time, but he warned us a major attack is going to happen on American soil. During the 90s, during the Clinton administration,
Yeah.
I found out, and when I went to Afghanistan, I found out from Afghans, they all know this story, that an official from the State Department, because Taliban had put a price on his head, this man survived like over 30 assassination attempts, that an official from the State Department famously asked him to surrender to the Taliban in the interest of peace. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? You want him to surrender to the people who were trying to kill him? In what world does that make sense?
Yeah.
He famously took off his bakur, this hat, special kind of hat, put it on the ground, and said, as long as there is land to place my hat, I will fight for it. Every Afghan knows that story. Mm-hmm. He was known as Shir Apanjir, which is Arabic for Lion of Five Lions, anglicized to Lion of the Panjir. It's their version of man among men. So we have those alliterative, or is that alliterative? No, assonant. Anyway, whatever the word is, that it kind of sings. So that was their man among men. We anglicized it to Lion of the Panjir, but it's really Panjir is five lions, so it's really Lion of the Five Lions. He was Shir Panjir. Afghans were just thrilled that I actually knew what that was.
It doesn't sound that bad.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
He was absolutely amazing. Yeah, he only required, because the Quran only requires that women wear a simple head covering. So that was all he required, the Northern Alliance, because that's all the Quran requires.
Yeah.
So the burqa, long burqa, was gone under his. He was assassinated the day before 9/11.
No.
He warned us that we'll know it's going to happen if he gets killed. Sure enough, he got killed.
And then it
happened. Just like he said. But when we figured out that everything came from Afghanistan, we landed in the Northern Alliance. He is the reason that we had a safe place to land. But I realized my government failed him. And that made me very angry.
Yeah.
Then the call came out a few years into the war for forensic people to deploy to be in forensic labs in Afghanistan. And she initially said no. And I remember a lot of guys in the department said, I should just go, because they were offering a lot of money. Mm. And they said, she'll change her mind when the checks start rolling in. Mm. And I said, you don't understand her very much, and that's probably why you're on your second or third marriage. Yes, I did say that to guys. It's like, if money changes a person's mind for something you got to wonder about the person.
Yeah. This
was never about money.
Yeah. You don't go into what you go into for the money.
No. So then one day, every once in a while I'd ask her. Then one day, it was October of 2010. We're having dinner, and she says, tell me again, just out of the blue, tell me again about your connection to Masood. So I told her everything I just told you.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. She says, submit your resume. Because I told her a long time ago, don't say yes because I want to go. That's not good enough.
Yeah.
Because I'm willingly going into a war zone. Now, granted, I'm going to a base. Mm-hmm. But they bombed the bases. Duh.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think about it, hey, where's the Americans? Hey, where all the bright lights are, Doesn't take a genius, okay?
Yeah.
This is not state secrets I'm talking here, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
So was there a possibility I could get killed? Yes. Was it likely? No. But it could happen. It could happen. And I knew that if I didn't want to go unless she was willing to send me.
Yeah.
Because then I knew if it happened, I knew she could deal. I didn't want her to say yes, and then I get killed, and then be like, the anger. I don't want to do that to her.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of good years together,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And I did not want to leave her with that if that happened.
Mm-hmm.
So one day she said, submit your resume. And I was hired in a month. I couldn't believe it. I thought for sure I was going to go through months of background checks and stuff. I had no idea how many resources they applied. They did a background check on me in a month and a half. Wound up with a security clearance. I'm like, damn, wow. It was kind of scary.
Yeah.
So
And you did that for 2 years?
I did that for 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you stayed in Afghanistan?
I came home about every 7 months for R&R, for a vacation, basically.
Yeah.
But I went there for 7 months at a time.
7 months at a time?
Mm-hmm.
And it was...
And it was just me going. So
oh my gosh.
she held the fort down here.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It was totally awesome. Well, the coolest thing, well, for me,
Yeah.
was that I'd kept track of the calendar, the lunar calendar.
Yeah.
So one day I called her and had her go outside. And in Afghanistan, the moon was, let's see, how's the world turning? That's right. The moon was setting while the sun was rising.
Mm-hmm.
While at the same time, here, the moon was rising while the sun was setting.
Really?
And we saw it at the same time.
And it was... oh, my God.
How many couples get to do that?
Oh, my God.
It is my one big concession to modern electronics. Yes, I use the cell phone. But
oh my gosh, man, that's just
we're on opposite side. We are literally on opposite sides of the world because I'm from L.A.
yeah.
Well, there was an old movie, The Truman Show, where he always wanted to go to Tahiti because he says, as farthest you can get before you start coming back. So I looked at a map one time and I realized, Afghanistan is as far as I can get from home here before I start coming back.
Yeah.
So it was just totally awesome.
Yeah. So for you, the sun was rising.
The sun was rising.
Sun was rising.
And the moon was setting.
The moon was setting.
And it was the opposite for her.
Oh my God.
So we just spent a few minutes describing it to each other until finally one of us lost the moon, one of us lost the sun, and
that's awesome.
But it was just the fact that we could do that, and it was like, hey, the world is round.
You figured it out.
It was just an awesome experience. That we share as a couple.
Yeah.
So I love telling that story because when I was growing up, I really wanted to be an astronaut. Mm-hmm. But back then, you had to be a pilot to be an astronaut.
Really?
And at the time, well, see, now you don't,
mm-hmm.
because they didn't know what space was. So that's why it was military people who they were willing to risk their lives because that's what they get paid to do.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was 6 or 7 years old and I got glasses. That was the death of a dream because at the time you couldn't wear glasses and be an astronaut. They didn't know you could.
Yeah.
So my dream died.
Yeah.
It was really sad that day. Because I always wanted to go to Mars. And then one day, when I was standing in the middle of nothing, in the middle of the base in Afghanistan, and I was in the middle of a wide, undeveloped area as I was going to the cabin, the tent where I was sleeping. I kind of looked around and I said, "This kind of looks like Mars." And I realized, kind of like Mars. We have to truck everything in. We don't grow anything here.
Yeah.
We bring in water, we bring in food, we bring in everything, and things around us are trying to kill us. And one of my lieutenants loved a phrase I use: Afghanistan is a land that does not want man on it. And he agreed. And I realized
I absolutely love the way you look at things. Seriously. Oh man.
So then I realized, as I looked around, I go, Mars, close enough.
Yeah.
I decided, close enough. And somehow that old dream that was dead came to rise again, and in my mind, fulfilled. Yeah. A friend of mine pointed out that actually I was farther away from her than if I was up in the space station. Because I was up in the space station, I'm going to be 100 miles from her.
Yeah.
And I said I was 10,000. So I thought, no, there you go. Yeah. Mars, close enough. So when I always refer to it when I was on Facebook occasionally, I'd refer to it as Mars. If you ever hear me refer to Mars, I'm referring to Afghanistan. Afghanistan. Yeah. My second year, a scary thing kind of happened.
Let's hear it.
I come out of one of the PXs where we buy stuff, and I look up. I'm in my third base. I look up at the mountains, the Hindu Kush, stark, unyielding mountains, and I just suddenly had this thought: I'm home. And I realized Afghanistan had become home to me. And to this day, I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
It didn't mean I didn't want to come home here, but it meant that it was
just a
as
thing.
much home there.
It was just a thing.
And to this day, I'm like, wow, what was that all about?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And I just kind of laughed and then went back to work.
Yeah.
There's parts of it I miss, and then most of it, I'm very glad I'm not there anymore.
Yeah.
It was one of the best things I ever did in life, and it demanded everything from me. It demanded everything from us. Us as a family, us as a couple, us as individuals.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just on the base. Think about the soldiers and the Marines.
A lot of downtime, I would think.
There can be.
Yeah.
In my case, there usually wasn't very much because they were always bringing stuff to me.
Yeah.
To do stuff with.
Yeah.
My last base was the most interesting, I think. It was a German base. It was run by the Germans.
Yeah.
And I met almost everybody from the coalition, or at least saw them.
Yeah.
I should say saw them.
Yeah.
Turkish soldiers, they didn't talk to anybody. They were very unfriendly.
Well, at least that
they wouldn't even wave back. I'm like, all right, okay, fine.
Well, at least that's like a true thing.
Okay. Then the Belgian soldiers, those poor guys, when they showed up, they all wore green.
Yeah.
And we're just like, did anybody tell them we're in a desert?
Oh my gosh.
My captain, shut up, Dave, shut up. All right, sorry. Because I was saying these things out loud and realized, oh yeah, I probably shouldn't.
You're not in America. You're in Afghanistan.
That's right. And I'm at a German base, so
you're on a German base.
They're gonna just kick me out the gates. Get out of here.
Gosh, man.
Norwegians were interesting guys. They kept losing stuff. And the Swedes were fun.
Yeah.
I dealt with this Swedish squad a lot. Those guys were active. They were always looking for stuff to bring back.
Yeah.
And for me to work with. Mm-hmm. Huge guy named Fred. Mm-hmm. Just big man. Gee. You remember Joe? What's his name? Joe from the
Montano.
Montano. Made Joe look like a midget. This guy was so big.
Really?
Huge man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fred was always bringing me stuff. Dave, we got something for you. Dave, we got this. All right, bring it over. Yes, and let's see what I met. It's for Norwegian. Oh, Latvian. Yeah, Latvian. I didn't even know there was a Latvia.
Latvia.
I couldn't believe how ignorant I was. Yeah,
I'm ignorant during this whole conversation because I'm gonna go back and listen to it and relearn it again.
There were only 15 Latvians, I guess, in all of Afghanistan, I guess, and they were all there at the German base. And the guy helped me out for a couple of weeks. A guy named Intar was his name. Real tall dude. Kept hitting his head every time he kept going through my door.
Oh my gosh!
And he always referred to as, "Hello, my little friend. How are you?" I'm fine, Intar. He liked that I learned how to pronounce his name because everybody called him Lurch. Lurch, like from the Addams Family. Yeah, he was
Intar.
Intar. Intar. Intar.
Yeah.
But you got to kind of clip the end. Intar.
Yeah.
He was very pleased that I learned how to do that. I'm surprised I still remember how to pronounce it because he was a character.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said, "Where are you from?" "Latvia. Small country, big ambition, Russian leftover."
Oh my god.
And that was what our time was like.
Yeah. For 2 years.
Yeah, so I spent a couple of weeks with him. He was fun.
Yeah.
And Mongolians.
Yeah.
There's a wild bunch of guys.
Mongolians?
Mongolian soldiers. They didn't speak English, but they're very friendly. They wave to you and they'll sit with you in the chow hall, and you just smile a lot and talk, or smile
Try
a
to,
lot.
yeah,
try
try
to.
to, yeah.
But yeah, I'll give these guys credit. And I think that a lot of it, my lab decided, a lot of it was that I didn't look that much different from them.
Mm-hmm.
Their skin texture is very similar to Hispanic.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
And,
yeah.
And I think my eyes is very similar to them.
Yeah.
So we think that might have had something to do with it. But I would walk to breakfast, and I'd always have I'd time it, not on purpose. It just sort of worked out that way. That I'd be walking along the perimeter road before I go inwards to the center of the base where the chow hall was. It's just the route I had to take. At the same time, these guys were changing the guard because their job was perimeter security. And they would be in this Jeep that was built for 4 with 8 guys fully loaded with automatic weapons.
Gosh.
The speed limit was 15. They considered that a suggestion, apparently. You see them going. See this dirt fly.
Dirt just going up.
And they would zing on by going, hey, good morning, guys. Don't die. Don't get killed.
It's supposed to be going 15. That's
like they were doing 35 if it was a mile.
Wow, man.
So the Jeep is double overloaded.
So they drive like Californians.
Oh my God. They were something else. But they had this culture night.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool. Where they had this night where several of their people were musicians.
Yeah.
So they played Mongolian music. They put up a yurt. That's what it was called. A big white tent of 15 layers of stuff.
Yeah.
And they used those a lot. And they had several guys in period costumes that soldiers wore for the last several hundreds of years.
And it's kind of...
It was just a little presentation they did for anybody on the base that wanted to come see.
That's pretty cool.
And they had this one night that they announced, and so we went, and that was interesting. And one of them explained their flag to me, and that was where I realized,
what does their flag look like?
Their flag is 2 red stripes with
like a V type.
No. It's relatively even. So it's not stripes, but 2 red areas, and then a blue area in the middle with a bunch of different symbols.
Yeah.
I still don't remember what they all mean.
Yeah.
But it's the colors that mean the most to them.
Oh, okay.
It's red. It's red bracketing blue. Blood defends sky. Mongolia is under the sky, and it is the blood of the warriors that defends the blue. That's how they see their mission.
That's pretty cool.
And I just thought, perimeter security is perfect.
Yeah.
It totally made sense. I'm like, no wonder they're happy. They're getting to do what they were trained to do.
Yeah.
Defend.
Yeah.
Man, it suddenly made sense once they explained that to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I waved to them every time. I'm like, do not crash, because overloaded Jeep with automatic weapons all over the place, and they're just
just so happy.
They're doing their job. They're getting to do what they were trained to do, and they're defending me.
Yeah.
And us. Yeah. Okay. Cool. See you.
Man. So I think we can get to Dave. You told me so much. That's great, man. I was expecting it.
Okay.
I was expecting it. When did Citrus College get into all this? Because that's where we met.
Citrus College.
Yeah, acting class, camera acting.
That's right.
Camera acting. That's where we met.
Before I retired, I made a rough list of things I was going to do in retirement. Mm-hmm. Because they always told us to plan your retirement. Mm-hmm. Most people don't, especially men. Men in particular are pretty bad at planning their retirement.
Retirements, yeah.
And not that women are immune to this, but it seems to be a problem that's more male oriented.
Yeah.
I took it seriously, and 10 years before I retired, 2000 is when I actually started to figure
think about it.
What activities, what things do I want to do?
Yeah.
So they're not bucket lists, because if I don't get to everything, that's okay. It's designed to keep me busy and to keep me from going crazy or driving her crazier than I already do.
Which it's probably gotten even crazier.
Yeah, I'm afraid it has. Yeah.
with the second career that you're picking, which is man.
She's got a smile. So I think I think that's a resounding yes to your to your assertion there.
And you had to choose one of the toughest businesses in. Oh man.
So acting was on the list because really I only had 3 questions. And when I first came to Citrus, let me back up. I wound up at Citrus simply because I was going to go to a community college. I could afford it because I don't qualify for financial aid anywhere.
Yeah.
And so I decided, okay, I'll go to community college. And I realized, what's close? That was my Mount Sac and Citrus.
That's pretty awesome.
I applied to both. Mount Sac lost my my application.
Oh, okay.
I wound up out of their system.
Interesting.
So I just decided, okay, screw you guys. I don't wanna go. If you're like that, I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
And Citrus did not.
Yeah.
And that's the reason I wound up at Citrus. I did no. People ask me, did you do research? No. I had a faintest damn idea.
It just happened.
I took acting because one, I was always curious. One, could I do it?
Yeah.
2, what's really involved in doing it? And basically, is it hard or? And then 3, would I like it?
Yeah.
So I actually expected one of those to be no, because I thought my feeling was if any one of them was no, I'd probably just move on to the next thing. Yeah, and the next thing is journalism.
Oh, okay.
I haven't gotten to that yet.
Yeah, kind of, not really.
But now another thing was writing a book, which I did do.
Which you can write so many books.
No, I wrote a forensic book, and it's the only one I'll ever write because I've said everything I want to say about forensics.
Okay.
I have other books planned that are different subject areas.
What's the forensic book called?
It's called Evidence Found. What is the subtitle? Damn book. What's it?
Evidence Found.
Evidence Found: An Approach to Crime Scene Investigation.
Okay.
The original subtitle was An Epistemological Approach to Crime Scene Investigation.
Can this be a textbook?
It's meant as has 2 roles: a supplemental textbook, so it's not a primary work.
Yeah.
It's a supplemental work. It's also a work for anybody interested in forensics for any reason that wants to understand how police personnel think.
Okay.
Especially when mistakes are made. That's what it covers.
Yeah. Okay.
It's available on Amazon and stuff like that. And the original subtitle was An Epistemological Approach, but they convinced me to drop that word because I bet you don't know what epistemological is.
Nope.
It turns out hardly anybody knows what epistemological is. I am the only one. Well, no, she does too.
Because you told her.
Yeah. No, she already knew.
Yeah.
And helped convince me that we're the only 2 on this hemisphere, perhaps. Basically, it would be like, okay, people would just blow it off because they'll either assume I've got words in there that they don't understand, or this guy's really full of himself.
Yeah.
To hell with this.
Oh my gosh.
So, fortunately and wisely, I took it off. But epistemological, it still is that. Epistemological means theory of knowledge. In other words, how do we know what we know? And that's something that in every field we rarely look at. We got to the moon because engineers asked themselves not just what was the right answer, but how did we get there? And when they made a mistake, what was our progression of steps and where did we make the error in thinking? Now that's what you read about errors in police investigations all the time.
Yeah.
Most of the time what they do is they do what's known as a lessons learned approach. And it comes down to, well, if we ever do this, have this kind of case again, be sure and do this, and don't do this and this. The problem is it's so specific. That approach is so specific, it's only to that case. One of the things I've noticed that police hardly ever did was, wait a minute, not just the error, but where did we go wrong? Not, if we face that again, because it's systemic. I find that most of these errors are systemic. They look different, but we're doing the same kind of error in different situations. And that's one of the things I figured out over the years.
Yeah.
So I put it all together, and then I had several people that were friends of mine in the business read it. And one of the things I did was I dropped every subject that didn't happen at 2 or more departments. If it happened at 2 or more departments, then I knew I was dealing with a system issue. If it was only my department or one other department, okay, that might be just that department's issue. I wasn't going to write about that.
Yeah.
Because it would not be very helpful to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's why it's barely 200 pages.
Really?
It's real easy reading.
Yeah.
You know, it's actually designed as much for cops and for the average citizen as anybody else. It's not technical. It's just that about critical thinking.
And we can get this book on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. You wrote a book. You got that down. You got that list down.
It actually sold. I wasn't sure whether it would, but I got a report. It was published 2 years ago, and I actually got a report and a modest royalty check last year, where it turns out there were even 2 people in South Africa that bought it.
Oh, cool.
And I just thought, how did they even hear about it?
Yeah, that's what I'm.
That's what I was kind of amazed by.
Yeah. Wow.
So to me, it's the fact that quite a number of people apparently have already bought it and read it. I couldn't be happier.
Yeah.
Because that was really the goal. Get us to look at ourselves. So I just deal with a bunch, and then I have a bunch of tips and tricks that some things that I discovered that I've never seen anywhere else. Like for example, searching a dark room. Most cops, and I see this in movies, one of the things they get right is everybody holds their flashlight here on their shoulder. Okay. Yeah, and actually that's very natural. But I figured out a long time ago that creates deep shadows. So I use what I call the torch technique. Shine the light high like it's a torch.
Yeah.
Your light diffuses, for example. So I have a bunch of tips like that. So I have a couple of chapters of just tips and tricks.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Man. It just keeps going.
Yeah. I have several other books planned, but right now I'm working on Days Like These.
On Days Like These.
Days Like These, as well as a play that I'm writing. That I hope to. This is why I'm taking directing.
Oh, okay.
I have a goal. My goal is to write the play so that it is good enough. Both Neil and Sherry think it's good enough to actually produce and let me direct it. And my goal is spring 2018, basically a year from now.
Heck yeah.
I figure, she's let other student projects go. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, it's
time for
it's time for the old man to step up.
Old man to step up. You clicked the right words out of my mouth, man. Did you start out taking stage acting first with Sherry?
I took stage and camera acting.
As
a matter of fact, just the other day, Neil and I actually had breakfast together.
Oh, heck yeah.
Where we talked about on days like these. He promised me we would have some extended time to talk about on days like these.
Yeah, we didn't even get to Neil Weiss yet. Because that guy's coming up. It's coming up.
We were laughing about the first time we met.
Yeah?
Because I wander into his class, and he does the same thing Sherry does when I wander into her class day one. Double take.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Who the hell are you? You could see it in their face.
Oh, yeah.
It took Sherry a week and a half to finally ask.
Well, what are you doing here?
But Neil, you remember the first night you stand up in front. Who does they look like?
Yeah.
So he stands me up.
Yeah.
He actually asked for volunteers. I said, I'll go. So I go up.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay. And he's still kind of looking, and then he can't help himself. But he says, high school? And I just look at him with wise ass look. And then several of the kids, well, it looks like he runs the high school.
That's great.
And then he looks at me and he says, why are you here?
And what was your answer, Dave?
I told him I'm retired,
Uh-huh.
and this is one of the things I thought I wanted to try in retirement.
Yeah.
It was basically the short answer.
Yeah, the short answer.
You know, so there's more to it, but
Yeah.
but I'll tell you another time if you really want to know.
Heck,
And
man.
he goes,
and,
all right.
Yeah.
He goes, college? I said, will you stop?
Oh my gosh, man.
That's how we started right off the bat.
That's funny, dude. And you know what? It sounds like him.
It really does.
Yeah, it does. Oh man.
Well, yeah, Sherry. I remember the very first class that it was like the second week, and she is nowadays she does it different, but she doesn't do it this way anymore. Where she was putting teams together,
Yeah.
putting partners together. You know, so she go, you partner with you partner with you, and she goes, David, and I go, yes.
Yeah.
And she stares at me for the longest time. And I'm staring at her back with a grin on my face. And finally I say, what the hell do I do with this old guy?
Oh my
and she
God.
said that out loud. She
Yeah.
goes, no.
Oh
Everybody
my
laughs.
gosh.
She's dying a
Yeah.
thousand deaths. I'm like, yeah, that's what you're thinking.
Yeah,
But
for
I
sure.
let her off the hook because I like her.
Yeah.
And I knew I was making her uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But she stares at me for, it felt like a minute. It wasn't that, but it
Yeah.
was just long. But it's like, yeah, what the hell do I do with this old guy?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And did you what was going through your head when you first started acting? Was it like this is something I like or something I'm good at? What was it?
Initially, I was like, what? Because, and my old line of work was in some ways a help, in some ways a hindrance. The hindrance was I'm used to being told very specifically what to do.
Yeah.
And so there were times when both Neil or Sherry would say, we're going to do this. And I'd be like, okay, now I understand the task.
Yeah.
You know, because forensics is very task oriented. But then there were times where, okay, now it's free thinking. Well, you have to be creative at times at crime scenes, but free thinking is very frowned upon. Mm-hmm. Even though I was somewhat of a free thinker. It's amazing I made it. It's amazing I didn't get fired several times. Right, so many reasons.
Oh man.
And so I had to get used to that.
Yeah.
Especially the first role I got, which was Buck. What was the character's name? Yeah, I was in Very Still and Hard to See, and I can't remember the character's name.
Very still and hard to see.
Very Still and Hard to See. Buck something. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Mm.
That director, Jason Franciscan, that I was waiting for him to tell me, do this and act this, and he wouldn't do that. Mm. And I was a little bit lost. Best thing I did was I had a conversation with him. Told him I'm lost.
Yeah. Which is
so he was really good, and in helping me adjust my thinking as for this field. Yeah. So initially, really, what it is was what are the mechanics in this field? Because every field has mechanics that go into it.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing. What is it I need to know and do, just to stay alive?
Yeah.
Just to get through the next exercise.
Yeah.
And then I found myself actually getting absorbed into the idea of creating, the idea of creating moments, creating looks, creating situations in which people can observe and feel. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so
what type of acting do you prefer doing? Do you like working the way Neil does, which is internal, where you kind of think about your own problems and that becomes that kind of character, or do you like working externally, which you kind of start, working outside of your body?
I think mostly it's probably Neil's way.
Neil's way.
Yeah.
That's what type of actor I am too, and I think working internally is better when you want to get into film acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's ultimately what I want to do. So when I met Neil, it was like boom, take off. That's exactly the way I love doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can talk about this for another 6 hours. Yeah, and Sherry's amazing too.
She is.
Yeah, I took Neil first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I took the acting class that we were in together was the first camera acting I took.
Oh, okay. That's right. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first one I did, and I did a monologue from Chasing Amy, and I did this monologue where I was telling some woman that I was in love with her. So, you know, put very simply, you know, just the freedom to make it your own.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something that you kind of had a little trouble with at first. Was kind of making it your own.
Yeah, yeah, because I didn't realize how much ownership I could take.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm used to in forensics, your creativity comes with, for example, say a bullet's in this wall. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, there's a lot of ways of getting it out, but the one thing is for sure is you don't want to mark the bullet. Mm-hmm. You know, so there's both a procedure and not a procedure.
Yeah.
You know, but that's as far as the creativity goes.
Yeah.
You sometimes wind up with some amazing situations. You know, evidence under a house. Oh, I just totally love that. Evidence in dumpsters, in 7-Eleven dumpsters. Oh, I just really miss that. like I do a hammer to the face, you know. Yeah. You know, so that's as far as the creativity goes.
Oh my goodness me.
You know, but most of the time my creativity was when I would teach.
Yeah.
And then I would come up with realistic but imaginative problems for students to solve to get them used to problem solving. Uh-huh. So I was able to transfer part of that, but there's a lot. But I saw that acting required a great deal more.
Yeah.
So that was just initially tough to realize. Oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
And that's really expected.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was actually, you know, like, oh, just tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not telling me what to do, and I'm supposed to do that. Well, that's not very helpful.
That is amazing way to work with Neil. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And then we were in a play together called The Trip to Bountiful.
The Trip to Bountiful.
Which is where I got to know you better, which was comedy. It was a great deal of fun. It was honestly one of the greatest summers of my life. Seriously, because that was the first play that I'd ever been a part of, any stage time ever in my life. Yeah. So it was it was fun, wasn't it?
It was. Yes, it was, and it was and I think the whole experience. I don't think we're ever gonna experience anything like that again. Not at Citrus.
Yeah, because I mean, Citrus chose a play that was so personal and so like wow, I have an opportunity to work with Sherry Brown as the main character and Neil Weiss, like, you know, it was an amazing experience, and it was such a personal play, and gosh, I don't even know where to start.
And it's okay to mention my son, Chris.
Oh man, you know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't even.
Even I didn't know he had that much in him. I always thought he had something in him.
Yeah.
But he had to make up his own mind. You know.
And I just want to say for the record, because I'm trying to make this interview about you as much as possible, but I just have to say your son is talented.
He truly is. I think more so than me.
He is an amazing actor. And I don't know how to.
For me, the pleasure was in that. And I realize it's not the same for him because I'm the father and he's the son. And I can't expect him to look at it from my perspective, although he understood my perspective and was very, very generous. But I always kind of felt like in some ways he was leading all of us.
Yeah.
And I got to just simply observe.
Which is...
He was totally unafraid that he was with Sherry Brown and Neil Weiss, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I remember half the time you'd look at me and I'd go, "That's my boy," and you would just laugh your ass off.
Oh my gosh, man! I got rattled for him. You know, like I don't even want to. He killed it at the auditions, by the way, at the callbacks. Absolutely killed it. He's Ludi, like for. You know, oh Jesus, he's Ludi.
I saw. I won't mention names, but I saw when he did the monologue end in the callback.
Yeah.
In the callback, he was, I believe, the second one to do it, and I saw almost everybody else give up.
Yeah. I almost cried when he did that monologue for the first time.
Yeah.
And he made me get emotional almost every time he fucking did it. And my goodness me. It was literally an amazing play.
Yeah.
Man.
And it worked. I was given the perfect role for that if I was going to be in something with my son. Mm-hmm. In that we didn't act together.
Yeah.
See, it's always the parent's dream to do something with their kid. It's rarely the kid's dream. and I accept that.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So to me, this was, well, it was like being in Afghanistan and calling it Mars. Close enough.
Yeah.
And with this one, close enough. If I'm never in anything with him ever again the rest of my life, it's okay.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, he and I would often talk.
You talk? You talk to your son?
Yeah. We'd often talk that in my role, I leave.
Yeah.
And shortly after he comes in, and we would actually talk as actors like that, probably that, and he would use this. He told me he used, I don't think he mind my telling you that he probably sees me leaving. Ludi sees me leaving.
Yeah.
All this happens off stage.
Yeah.
So that when the second ticket person tells him, the other guy has the information, when he looks back, he's actually thinking, and I just saw that guy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that we both kind of, and I would just see him like, oh, great, another one. I'm going home.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So.
Yeah, when because I was just in the ensemble, but I would be in line and I would be waiting to get my bus ticket. You jetted out of that place like you just had the worst 8-hour shift of your life.
I hate this place.
Yeah, hate this place. Next. Man, it was great. Yeah, I'm happy that we were able to be together in that play, because I learned so much from you, from everybody.
It was in many ways perfect.
Yeah,
almost a perfect experience. It was amazing.
Yeah, I mean it was one of those things where, sports. It was one of those like teams that were just working together the whole time. Dave Miranda, there was no drama. There was no like me. In that whole cast, everybody wanted everybody to get better at what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I loved it. Fuck. I get emotional now. And then yeah.
And so basically I found out, yes, I could do it.
Yeah.
I seemed to be okay at it.
Uh-huh.
And I found I like it. So I kept taking more classes.
Yeah.
Then I'd actually already written on days like these before I ever came to screenwriting class.
Really?
I actually submitted it. I had submitted it to a contest.
Oh, okay.
And I actually made the first cut. Now that meant that mine was one of about 30,000, but started out with 100,000. So I thought, well, hey, I made the first cut.
Yeah, definitely.
I had no idea what the heck I was doing.
Yeah. One of the just for the sake of the crowd.
Yeah.
You've told me this quite a few times, but I love the story. Why did you call the script On Days Like These?
Oh yes.
I love this story, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Because I didn't know what I was going to call it.
Yeah.
The working title was Crackers and Water.
Crackers and Water?
Because it was based on a real incident in which 3 people actually asked me to actually do this.
Yeah.
I think you knew that.
Yeah, you told me all that.
Well, one of the youngest one was a peer of Chris's. And I guess he told me this later, that she was like rail thin. And one of those girls that might eat every other day or something. He said he could see that she was having a little trouble, so he invited her into the kitchen and talked her into eating something.
Yeah.
And gave her crackers and water. That's all she would take.
Ah, okay.
So I was like,
okay, yeah.
Okay, crackers and water it is.
Yeah. That's like
Which was
great.
better than my working title, which was Mexico 187.
187
is a penal code for murder.
Ah.
So crackers and water was better. But either way, I still didn't have a title for it. But then I remembered when I was in Afghanistan in my third base, the Germans, God, Germans are something else.
I know.
They had a radio station on the base. Who has a radio station?
Yeah.
In a war zone. Okay, fine. You know what? I'm not in charge.
Whatever.
I'm not in charge.
You're not going to ask any questions.
I'm not going to ask any questions.
Yeah.
And what they would do is half the day they would broadcast live, and half the day they would broadcast a recording from whatever the broadcast was in Germany the day before.
Oh, okay.
So they had this. But at the time, there was this very, very popular song. I didn't realize it was popular, but they played this song that just stuck with me called Antage wie diese. I know I didn't say that right. How do you say it? Antage wie diese.
Antage wie diese.
Antage wie diese. Yeah, we're Mexicans. We're never going to say it right.
Because we're gonna.
She actually can speak German.
Yeah, because we're gonna put our own Mexican accents into it.
and I don't think I have any accent worth of anything. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, Antage wie diese.
Yeah.
By a group called Die Titen Hosen, which also I have no idea what the heck that means either.
No idea what it means, but it's German.
But I started hearing the first few bars, and it just had this celebration to it. Mm-hmm. We had a radio in the lab, and I remember hearing it, and then I hear the singer. I had no idea what he was saying, but it just sounded so hopeful. But then the chorus, Antage wie diese, and it breaks into this raucous rock and roll anthem of celebration.
Yeah.
It hit me in my gut so positively that I would dance in the lab.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, my lab partner she was former FBI, which means that she...
So she was not that woman.
Well, they remove your sense of humor when you work for the FBI. So there's an actual surgical procedure.
They take you in. Hey, this guy's first day.
First day.
Operation.
The operation, take it out. And if there's any FBI people watching, I have the recordings and record. Not really. I should say listening.
This is great. So she was just...
Yeah, FBI doesn't think that's funny, but...
well, it is what it is. You're retired. Who cares?
That's right.
What
are you going to do? Listen to me some more?
Read On Days Like These by Dave Miranda. And then you'll figure out.
Anyway, she never thought that was fun, but and it didn't help that actually all the captains and lieutenants I was under, they danced with me, so they thought that was fun too. Yeah. So she just like,
yeah, for sure.
So it's like having the teacher join you.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, now I can't get in trouble.
Yeah. It is what it is.
It was just this fun song, and then it would just end and. You couldn't wait to hear it again. Then finally, it took me several hearings to actually figure out what's the words they're saying. Because I had internet access, but if you don't know what you're looking for, you can hit Google all you want to. You have to put in something that's close.
Yeah.
So I finally figured out, Antage wie diese. What's V? Oh, that's right. V is W. Okay. So I figured out how to spell it. And then I typed it in, and then saw it was actually one of the most popular songs in Germany at that time. Apparently, there was even some German soccer, not match, what do they call it, tournament, and it became there's one YouTube video that at the end of one game they played over the loudspeakers, and a crowd of 70,000 sings the whole thing.
Yeah.
When's the last time you heard anything like that?
No.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
It was just amazing.
Yeah.
And so then I looked at the English translation. And with the English translation, it refers to this annual festival, art and music festival that they have. It's this grand super party. Basically, we had Woodstock in 1969 in America, and we spent years trying to recreate it. Apparently, they have Woodstock every year. Apparently they don't burn cars and burn cities down, and 1 million people go to Berlin or wherever it's held, and they have this great time, and they throw water and paint on each other, and
that sounds really fun. To be honest with you,
and so it kind of celebrates that. And in it, the singer is talking about basically telling was essentially his date. Don't worry, I'll take care of you. We've been waiting for this all year, and we are free from gravity. We are free from cares. We are free from everything. On Tagavidiza, then gets to the chorus. On days like these, it's basically you want to fly. On days like these, you want to be free. And then there's one part of the song, I can't remember the German, but it says over and over again, without end, without. It's really saying, and you want it to never end. And it hit me that this is the perfect title because the way I'm planning for the character is that Mike will lose personally most of the time. But what his actions do will make other people win, because that was my life experience. I did a lot of things that helped a lot of people, many times at great personal cost. But for that little window of victory, that hour or that day where something great happened, something positive and great happened for somebody, and I did it, I realized on days like those, I never wanted the day to end. And that was why I kept doing it. It was worth it for that day.
Yeah.
And I realized it's perfect.
It is.
On days like these.
It is. And I can't.
And somehow the title works even without me explaining that to people.
No, it doesn't. Because if you, like even like the first 10 pages, Mike's just going through procedures, daily procedures on what he does. And he's got that attitude. Well, it is what it is already. That's my job. And he's kind of that guy. Well, here we go again.
Yeah, you say you've gone through half of it, or no? That's right. You're in Mexico.
Yeah, I am at the part they just finished looking around the house.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's got the bat.
Okay.
He's got the bat.
So in the first part, where basically he's suspended for his action.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was worth it.
Yeah.
Because he did the right thing. On days like these.
Yeah. So I can't wait to.
That little bit is kind of the microcosm of what I intend to put him through every time. Yeah, because there were. Yeah, I look back and she paid every price with me.
Yeah.
I had lots of small victories.
Yeah.
That had big impact, and just about every single one cost me. I remember a sergeant that was a bit of a bully against women, and there was one employee that he was bullying her pretty badly officially. He knew how to use the system.
Yeah.
I was union president and the union representative. I was union president for 3 years, and I was union representative for 20, which means I was this person representative. And I kind of figured out real quick. There was only one of them. Okay, yeah, she did a small thing wrong, but he just couldn't stop himself.
Kept pushing. Yeah.
And one of the things that I remember, the second one, that he didn't expect me to show up because I was on my day off.
Yeah.
And he did it at night. I'm like, no, asshole, that's not going to stop me, because I didn't get paid for it.
Yeah.
So they were trying to make it really inconvenient.
Yeah.
And I remember that he kept trying either non-procedural things or things that he just legally couldn't do. And the employee didn't know. That's my job. Yeah. I say, it's like, Sergeant, that would be an interesting question if the subject was this, but since the subject isn't this, what are you talking about? And apparently over that period of time, I intimidated him so much that two things hilarious happened that I still remember. One was as we're finally done, and he's trying to kind of rephrase everything to make himself sound really good.
Yeah.
He's trying to put his pen in his pocket, and he keeps missing, but he won't look down. And he's trying to put it in his shirt pocket. He will not look down.
He's one of those guys.
So I keep talking and keep engaging him in protracted conversation, knowing it's distracting him, and he's starting to half stab himself.
What is the point, man?
Because I just know he just has too prideful.
I know
he won't do it. So I'm just like, so I was like, let's see how far I can. 2 minutes.
Oh my
I did it's
god.
like to pick up my watch. 2 minutes. He's like jabbing himself with his pen. Finally, he puts it in his pants pocket.
Oh my god.
And then when he leaves, he can't. I never seen anybody do this. He closes the door on himself. I've never seen anybody do that. And when you're police, you got all kinds of gear and your belt and stuff like that.
He closed the door on himself.
He hooks some of his equipment on his belt.
Yeah.
And also hooks his badge.
Oh,
So he kind of makes this. It was like somebody kicked him out the door and slammed it at the same time. But and the employee, I said, "Wait a minute." 1. So I count to 10. She goes, "What?" I said, he might be listening at the door for a second, and I hear footsteps. I hear footsteps down the hall. Now, and she busted up laughing. Said, "You don't want to laugh at him. Hear you? He'll come back in." And I'll explain that. Yeah, so, wait, hold it. Okay, now laugh.
Oh man, on days like these.
And it was worth it. I won that victory for that employee, and then he went after me for the next 2-3 years.
Man.
And if he was a football team, he would be first in the draft every time. He tried 12 different times to tag me with something. He was 0-12.
Yeah. Man, that is crazy.
And there's just a lot of things like that. And that was like, but it was, all that each time I'm like, I was never particularly worried, annoyed. It's pressure, but it was it was for this victory on days like these.
We're gonna end it with that one.
Okay, that sounds good.
Mr. Miranda, I want to appreciate everything. Just thank you for allowing me to do this.
Oh man, thank you for making me feel important.